Welcome to the Law Firm Marketing Minute, your source of internet marketing inspiration.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Law Firm Marketing Minute. I'm your host, John Henson, and this week wanted to share something personal with you, but I did want to still kind of connect it to the show, and so just bear with me. I know at the start you're going to think there's no way I can possibly connect this back, but I do think that there is, something poignant that you can take away from this. A couple of weeks ago, I was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Now, if you've been listening to this show for any amount of time, you've seen a lot of the other content that we've been doing here at Spotlight Braiding. You might be very surprised by that, and you might think that, I did not come off as someone with autism spectrum or anything like that. And there's a really good reason why. A lot of the content that we put out is very much me talking at something, whether it's me giving a presentation or even doing something like this. Center stage might be the one exception, and that is something that I have had to work very hard at to have those individual conversations, because those do not come very naturally for me. But yes, all of my life, I have very much struggled with social interactions, small groups, individual, even large scale. I have a hard time just kind of navigating those sorts of things. And it's much easier for me to, like I said, talk at something rather than with something. And so that's why podcasting, I enjoy it very much, because, as I'm recording this right now, I'm by myself in a room and I'm kind of staring at myself in the recording of the video version of this. But, it's very different than if someone was, sitting next to me or across from me, and I'm trying to have this conversation with them, because I struggle to keep up. I struggle to think of the next thing that I need to say. And then even beyond the social aspect of it, I have very specific sensory sort of abnormalities that I go through. I very rigid, I very much, crave that structure, that classic, sort of symptom where it's just, if any of my routines are messed up, then my whole day is thrown off, and I just, I feel very out of place. But I mean, there's a long list of things that just checked off box after box after box. And I finally went and saw a professional about it and got that diagnosis. And so it helped me sort of set the framework for how I interact with the world, why I struggle, all that kind of stuff. And where I think that is applicable to you as a listener, I would bet that a decent number of you listening right now, when I first said that I had autism spectrum disorder, you likely were very surprised by that, because I admittedly do not fit the mold of what I think the majority of society sees as someone with autism. I think the vast majority of people, when they hear that word, they associate it with an individual who really, really struggles developmentally, cognitively, often needs some sort of ongoing assistance, cannot live an independent life. It is a very true disability. And, that's not me. I otherwise have worked, I worked very hard to do whatever I need to do. Some days are easier than others. Just depends on how many people I have to interact with. But, it's one of my goals moving forward, especially with this diagnosis, is I want to help educate people on just the scope of what, this disorder looks like. Not everyone who has autism will look like me or will look like someone who is severely cognitively disabled. It is a spectrum. It is a broad range of symptoms. Some people are more high functioning than others. So how does that apply to you? Well, I've talked a lot before about how when I first started working here, I had this idea and this sort of image that all lawyers were kind of the same. They're all kind of scary. They're, just looking for a big paycheck. They just care about getting the biggest settlement possible. Just aggressive, condescending, just that sort of air that they're better than you and all that. And as I have been working here for 7 years, I've realized like that's not really true. Yes, there are some that fit that mold. I mean, there's a reason that image exists, because there are lawyers out there who put out that sort of demeanor. But the majority of lawyers, especially the ones that we work with and our clients specifically, and I'm not just saying this because I want to talk nice about our clients. Like I genuinely do believe this, like our clients, they're just regular people. And, law is the profession that they got into. And they're not scary. They're not intimidating. They're just regular people who are just trying to help the rest of society kind of navigate the world. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so where you face an uphill battle as a lawyer is people have misguided notions about who you are. You may not be that bulldog. You may not be that intimidating, somewhat condescending, ambulance chasing sort of lawyer, but I can guarantee you that people who may have never worked with a lawyer before, or people who may have had limited experience with lawyers, they think that that's how the vast majority of you are. So what do you do to combat that, especially if you don't like that kind of label? It's with your marketing, right? So, that's why we have talk about and really preach the value of the strategy that we do. It's educating, it's informing. We talk about raising awareness for all of these things, and I don't particularly like that term. I don't like the term awareness, because we're all aware of it. We're aware of lawyers, we're aware of autism, we're aware of whatever. And I think what we need is information and education around it, because it's so easy for people to take a very basic view of something, and then that just becomes their permanent worldview on it, and it's wrong. You're probably listening to this right now and it's like, yeah, I don't fit into that mold. I'm not that aggressive. I'm not an ambulance chaser. I just want to help people. Well, you got to prove that, because people have gone years and years, and that view and that stigma on lawyers has permeated society, and it's just kind of the base for someone's opinion of a lawyer. And so there's that work that needs to be done, just like there's work that I have to do to educate and prove people like, hey, what you believe is only right some of the time, but there are people like me who still fit in that mold, but behave and function very differently. And so you as a lawyer have to do that same thing. And that's where good content, educational, informative, evergreen content comes in. And it really does go a long way towards humanizing you, breaking down those barriers and those stigmas that people have. And ultimately that creates better working relationships. It creates those good referrals and all that kind of stuff. And so there you go. I connected it, came back around to it. But if you do have any questions about what I shared, or even or if it's just marketing related, I'm happy to answer everything. I'm an open book. But this is why we do this. This is why we are constantly, even us, people have marketing company assumptions about what every marketing company tries to do. And we are going against the grain on that. And we're, educating people that, hey, it's not, search engines are not the only way to successfully market a practice. You don't have to just stuff keywords into things. You don't have to just run paid ads that cost thousands of dollars a month in order to have successful marketing. But most marketing companies, that's the strategy that they employ because it's pretty financially advantageous for them, and that's the truth behind it. And it does work, otherwise, like, it wouldn't have lasted this long. But when you're a smaller business, your marketing budget isn't that big, and you want to stand out from your competitors, this is the other way to do it. And so it's a constant thing. There's going to be constant educating going on because the lawyers that come through are cycling out the old ones, and so the newer ones haven't heard this message, and so it's going to constantly be a thing, and it's never going to end. But just having the system in place where you're educating, you're staying top of mind, you're reminding people who you are, how you're helping, it's effective. All right. It's helped us grow for 10 years. We're continuing to grow as a business, doing what we do. So we know it works, and we know it works for you. It's just a matter of, committing to doing that and doing it consistently. So there you go. That's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us. Please visit lawfirmmarketingminute.com for more information. We'll see you next time.